even the steps, we are struggling to meet the steps that we're supposed to. So I think those are some of the factors, some of the few factors that I have on my mind, top of my mind, that they benefited compared to our generation today.
Yeah, and that is very profound and very true as well. Anyone else wants to share? Thanks, Catherine. And we're so happy to have Kate here. Kate is a wellness coach, and you guys shall be meeting her so that she can pretty us up on the last week of this webinar. We'll get to hear more about her. So let me come back here. So we've had some great wisdom from Kate and also from Worms in terms of how they used to walk for long, they used to eat for long, they used to eat healthy, and of course that contributed as well. Jen also says they walked for miles per day. That is true, and they only ate when hungry, not snacking. By the way, there were no snacks, Bana. No snacks, was probably carrots and other healthy options. That was the only thing available. Of course, marginal progress, especially on the scale, also discourages. Oh, this is Rehab sharing her what is her setback. Yeah. Anyone else wants to share on what you think about why the previous generations probably had longer lives? And on the screen is our ancestors. So these are our grandparents or even great grandparents, depending on which generation you were born in. I don't know whether anyone here who is above 50 or 60. I know we have quite a number of them in the group. Do we have anyone from that space? Yeah, probably they will also be very insightful because those are people who are also doing a lot of practical things. If not, no pressure. So I think we'll just keep going. Let me share some of the insights that I had towards this. So how did they do it? First of all, these generations had some survival tactics in drought because there was no food guarantee. I mean, what you farmed is what you had. And so you had to produce everything you need. So their hands were always full. And also it was a life cycle. Like every year you are farming towards next year. It was like almost a survival cycle of how they used to live their lives. And then the other thing was one day at a time. And so those people never used to worry so much about the future. You know, much as they will think about savings and everything, but everything was in terms of food. I remember a guy in our life group who was sharing how in the past they used to do barter trade a lot. Like at a Sikuya KGGCU, you know, the Kenya growers, something, you will go and then take whatever you're selling there. For example, for them, their grandparents and great-grandparents were coffee farmers in Kiambu. So you'll take all your coffee there and then they will give you like some credits to go and buy things elsewhere. So they didn't also have money to waste. You know, they rarely had cash at hand. And so everything was just an exchange kind of a life. And of course, the other thing was purpose abstract. Purpose was a very abstract concept for them because their life was here and now. So they didn't probably think about investments, about things in the future. They will only teach their children the skill. And then they will hope that when your time comes, you will have all this land, you will keep farming. And then the other thing, they valued community, responsibility, sacrifice, and resilience. Like they were such a resilient generation. And then the other thing was every meal was a meal. So there was no breakfast for lunch. Like there was no eating a burger or something for lunch. Like everything was planned. And I remember in my grandmother's place, when I was just reflecting about this, I was like, we used to live sometimes on one meal a day. Because hakuna mkate. You know, so of course, when we were in our home, we would have bread. But when we go there, sometimes ni chai tupu, and then you guys would go to the farm, and then you will come back and peel potatoes for all the farm workers plus yourselves, or even gouache. Sometimes they will just boil gouache, and all of you will eat gouache and tea for lunch, or even sometimes just gouache and water. And then, of course, the other thing was they just didn't have all these in-betweens that we have in terms of snacking. So you eat in between. So I remember when I was at grandmother's, she was a large-scale farmer. She had like around, was it like 15 acres where she was living. And so she would have hired people coming every day to farm, especially now during the peak seasons where things need to be done. And then the other days were quiet. And one of the things I really admired about her, we rarely bought anything apart from sugar and because we had wheat, we had unga ya ugali, we had mboga, we only used to buy sugar and oil. And all these other things were available. Kitungu, even nyanya, like she used to farm and plant everything. And so the way one of us said, everything was quality. It was Kate. You know, like there were no chemicals. Probably there was more organic farming by then. And then the other thing was every meal was a meal, I've said that. And then they had also a slow-paced life with no tech effects. They didn't have hurry in life. I remember when we were doing religious studies, they will say how Africans will greet, like ukiambia tu mtu, how are you? They will start pouring their heart. They will tell you about all the animals which have given birth, and they will even tell you the names. And because you are their friend, you know the names of those animals. And of course, there was also conventional living. So they were such a solid generation. And then the other thing about them, they didn't eat when they wanted, what they wanted when they wanted, because everything they ate, they had to farm it. Number one, they had to cook it. Number two, they had planned meal time, so you wouldn't just eat just because you want to. And of course, they had more resilience and patience. Can you imagine, like when you're in shags, like during our time, I remember like when you're hungry, you had to go, you peel the potatoes, wakishe moto, and of course it was that motto of sparking a flame that has been buried in the ash. You bembeleza it mpaka it comes alive. Sometimes the kuni imenyeshewa, like they were so resilient, and they will do that until they eat. And then, of course, the other thing about them, they had surplus, and this surplus, they were not wasteful. So it's not like us, you keep things in the fridge and then you throw them away because it's expiry dates or it doesn't taste how you want. For them, they had surplus that was stashed away for drought or at least to extend times. And they had so many preservative methods. Like I remember just seeing my mother prepare a place where she will keep warus. Oh, who is that who has come in with Anakula Nini? By the way, she's in a eating conversation meeting. And of course, the other thing was also, when you think about, was I talking about my grandmother? Yes. So she had these preservation methods for warus to last even for 6 months. She has layered grass and these magunia za makonge, and then she has layered everything. And you will go there, probably she will be like, these warus, I harvested them like last year. They are still intact. They are still firm. Like there was so much like conservative methods that they used to just preserve food and prolong everything. They're always active, and like most of us now, Mary Moroki, Caroline will make a co-host. Okay, Sawa. Caroline, Sawa. All right, that is well noted. And then what were the effects? Number one, they had community support. So everybody, like sometimes you would even sleep hungry because your neighbor would extend what they have as surplus for you. They also had healthier lives and they lived longer. They had self-regulation in terms of self-control, as I've explained it. And then, of course, they had less mental and emotional struggles like we do because they had community. They had a slow-paced life. They used to really live in the present. And that used to contribute a lot to their overall well-being. And then they were more responsible and present. You know, they didn't have distractions like us. We are always on our phone and all those other things. There's someone who was saying sometimes we eat more because you are eating and you are watching something. And so you don't even know when you're full because your mind is not even focusing on that. And then, of course, they did more with less. They will really extend their resources and everything else. And then, qua ground, this is how we are doing. Number one is entitlement. I eat when I'm stressed. I eat when I'm celebrating. I eat when others are eating. I eat when it is mealtime. Sasa saba ikifika, you're like, saini sa kukula tako umekula saa tano, you still go and eat. We eat when we are bored. We eat when we are disappointed. Like there are so many reasons why we eat. And this entitlement eating becomes one of our challenges and struggles. And then the other thing is also we are mentally, emotionally, socially, and culturally induced eating habits. Like that is where we live in. So mentally, we have induced the habits that are related to our mental health space, our emotional health space, our social health space, and of course, cultural. You remember when you were young, it was like hawezi tupa food. You know, you can't throw away food. So even if you're full, you still have to finish the plate. And sometimes you are the one who served that food. And then you still have to finish that food much as you can feel like your stomach is giving you a signal of enough. And that is culturally induced eating because of how you are raised. And then, of course, the other thing is the media hype on junk food and the feel-good culture. Remember when Fanta launched the Fanta Blue? Hey, but we went after that thing. And then the way when they're advertising Coke, they even have the sound effect of the bubbling Coke. And then nowadays the Fanta is showing like, you know, we not have fun in our lives. And so Fanta in the office, you're making life boring when you don't take Fanta. And so all this keeps on hyping up the junk food and feel-good culture. There are so many billboards that are advertising food and just even KFC, just showing how it's amazing. And you're like, yeah, but this is such a good deal. And so it leads to the fear of missing out. And of course, we join the bandwagon. And then the other thing is convenience. We're just looking for convenience. Nowadays, instant gratification. You just go to the super. You're not planning to eat. Nowadays, every supermarket has a catering corner. And nowadays, Quick Mart has a very nice place where you can sit and eat your food. And you just feel like you are in Java or at cafe. And so all this instant gratification. And so whenever we eat because we eat because of all the other factors. And of course, when you think about the next level, so that you can bring Mary up, I just love this scripture in John 10:10. This is what we were reading when you're starting to get your bold back. And as we shall be focusing on all these areas, I really want to keep us this back at the back of our minds in terms of the mission, why we are doing this. You remember all these things that we are doing, they're supposed to point us back to God as the source of even our health, our well-being. In Him we move, in Him we live, in Him we have our being. And so just this scripture is really inspiring for me every time, even when I think about our wellness, that Jesus came so that we may have life and have it in abundance. And I really love this amplified version of to the full till it overflows, because sometimes when someone is demonstrating this, I remember like a pastor was preaching, alafu amemwagilia maji kwa glass, and then your maji inamwagika chini. God is not wasteful. Actually, this overflowing is, it flows into the other areas of our lives. It flows into people around us. Because you remember also, this journey is about community. It's about how will my wellness impact other people's wellness. Will I one day come to a place where I am experiencing this life in abundance, in a way I'm able to even start a group like this one and encourage other people in their own struggles with fitness, with wellness? Can I start working with other women in future? That is when overflow will be happening. Can I start probably encouraging women to do whatever we will learn tonight? That is where overflow happens. And of course, also this other version that says He came so that we can have real and eternal life, more and better life than we ever dreamt of. And so can you imagine whatever you're dreaming of, God is able to give you something more, something more. You know, I'm able to even live longer than I thought I would. Some of us probably right now, you're just hoping to recover from one thing, and God is able to cause me to recover from more things than that. You know, some of us are just hoping I lose this many kilos. What if God will cause you to not just lose it, but your life to change, and you have such quality life? In a way, you're such a life-giving space, more than you ever dreamt of. And so even tonight as we are here, I'm just praying that God will give us that desire to dream over more than what I ever dreamt of, even in terms of my wellness journey, in terms of my well-being, because that is God's promise for us tonight. So we have this pretty girl, Marie Moroki. This is one of our champions in the Get Your Ball Back community. And this girl is amazing. She's so gifted. She's so talented. When you're talking with her, I was just telling her, you are so full of life, much as you are probably younger than us, but you have so much wisdom. And of course, even from her professional wisdom, we are really going to flow tonight. And of course, when we are thinking about what she will share tonight about food, some of us are already feeling intimidated because that is where we are struggling. Yeah, but I'm so sure Mary will be just leading us on a journey so that we can get another dose of life. Look at how pretty this girl is. And so Mary is a licensed clinical nutritionist with a background in foods, nutrition, and dietetics. Wait, I hope I said it nicely. She's currently completing her master's in food and science technology, and her interest is wellness, nutrition, food safety. That is what she wants for the whole world. And her hobbies, she plays acoustic guitar. So I'm just imagining the day we'll have a get together, we'll just have her bring her guitar for tuchangamshe. And then of course, lawn tennis. Yeah, we really, really appreciate these amazing hobbies she has. And her current reads are Fervent and Reconfidence. When I saw Reconfidence, I was like, whoo, yeah, this is one of the books that I've done. And so Mary, we are so blessed to have you tonight. So I'll stop sharing mine, and then feel free to introduce yourself, and then I'm going to also share your screen so that you can share your slides up. Yeah, karibu Mary. Yeah, feel free to take us through the conversation for tonight. Yeah, we're so honored to have you in this webinar.
Thank you so much, Paps. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, loud and clear.
Yes, hello everyone. Wow, it has been a while since someone introduced me, and that was like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to be here. I am so humbled. I remember I joined Get Your Ball back in the month of, I think it was March. It has been me. And I'm just glad to be part of everyone. So I pray that even as we share on nutrition and mental health, that the Lord is going to lead us and guide us, considering that everything that we do here is based on, it's based on God. He's based on everything. And also, as we continue sharing, I'll just want to remind us from the book of Genesis chapter 1, verse 27, that all of us were made, God made all of us male and female in his own image and likeness. And he knew us even before we were formed in our mother's wombs. And everyone is fearfully and wonderfully made. So without much ado, let me just get into the presentation. So today we are going to share about nutrition and mental health. And at the moment, I know in our current generation, we are all looking into, there's so many things that are happening. The prices of food prices, fuel prices, and so much. A lot is happening in our families. And so mental health and nutrition is really playing a key role in our lives. So let's just dive in and see what we have today. And my tagline for nutrition and mental health is healthier living for improved quality of life. And about quality of life, we're talking about every aspect of our lives. Okay, perhaps next slide. So what are we going to learn today? We're going to have just a basic understanding of what nutrition is. We are also going to see what mental health entails. And since you're talking about these two, we want to see how are these two coupled together. So the relationship between nutrition and mental health. Then I prepared this presentation with having 3+2 health behavior. So you want to sit and find out what they are, and then some easy steps for just leading a healthier lifestyle. And at the end of the presentation, we are also going to see what does our challenge for this week is going to be. Yeah. Perhaps you can take me to the next slide. Thank you. So what is nutrition? I know there is a lot of science related to it, but basically nutrition, it's all about healthy foods and eating these healthy foods in the required amounts from different food groups. And this also is also per individual needs, since all of us are unique in different ways. So that also means that whatever foods you're going to take, they are also needed, they're going to be they have to be according to your own needs, and we need all these healthy foods to support life. And how do we know about nutrition? How can you tell someone's nutritional status are good? By just checking their health status. So nutrition really reflects on our health status. Next slide. Thank you. So we have checked what nutrition is. What is mental health? I think since we joined Get Your Bold Back, we have been talking about mental health, and this entails our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. And mental health really affects how we feel, how we think, and also how we act. And mental health, I can say it really affects our behavior and even to some point our character. So what are these the behaviors that I'm talking about? We are going to categorize this in two sides. Health behavior that, number one, they lead us to living a better quality life. That is, for example, just healthier eating, being physically active. Those are the health behaviors that are positive. But also we have health behaviors that are going to affect us negative. Smoking, sexual risk of getting diseases. We have all, maybe most of us know about the lifestyle disease that we have, such as obesity, we have hypertension, we have even liver cirrhosis. Some of these are just as a result of this risk, or what you call the negative health behaviors that really affect our lives. Perhaps you can take me to the next slide. And so now, what is the relationship between mental health and nutrition? From that screen, we can see there is two faces, a smiley one and a sad one. And most of the times, our foods affect how we eat. Our foods affect our mental health, affects the food and our moods and even our eating habits. For example, I can say as women, at times we have mood swings, or maybe you just feel like eating junk. There are those cravings. So most times you either make good decisions or even a bad decision depending on your mood swings. And food and mood comes in that the eating habits that are involved, especially in mental health. We have what you call a Mediterranean diet, or what is good diet versus Western diets. These Mediterranean diets include just taking wholesome foods, whole grains, taking a lot of fruits and vegetables, consuming the good fats, versus the Western diets. I think for most of us who have people living abroad, they always complain sometimes about the diets. This Western diet, it is categorized by having drinks that are high in sugar, refined foods. By refined foods, I'm talking about foods that are, let me say, they're like white, quote unquote, maybe the white ugali, the white chapatis. We also have foods that are very high in fats, and most of them, they are packaged food, so they have very little. You just need a little time to cook them, and this also makes them, since they are being preserved, they have a lot of preservatives, which at the end of the day, they will not be so good for our health. Another point about mental health is that our moods also change the food choices that we take, and this most of the time is not when we are doing really okay. It's only on a temporal psychological state. For example, just having a burger because we felt like, today don't feel like cooking. Or maybe I am tired, it is the end of the month and I have some good cash in my account. So what am I going to do? I'm just going to KFC and treat myself. In Kenya, we say kuambia mwili pole, and we end up making wrong food choices. Also, for people who are under medication drugs, especially when it comes to psychiatric drugs, they can affect them how someone consumes food, either on the higher side or on the lower sides. And also, we have other factors that affect how we consume foods. For example, finances. If we are not well able to purchase some foods, we may make even poor food choices, or even the availability. For example, people who are in Kisumu, they may be prone to eat fish more compared to people who are in Central. Hapo we just will be taking a lot of potatoes, and people like enjoying us with a lot of soups. Yeah. And then there is the social aspect. When you're alone, you tend to maybe not cook so much unless you're so much disciplined. And I can say at some point I have been a culprit to this. So we see that there are so many factors that come with affecting our food and mood, and consequently our mental health. Next slide. And so now, after learning about the nutrition, about mental health, about the relationship between the food that we eat and our mental health status, what are some of these health behaviors that you can really look into? I have called them 3+2, in that the first three, they just affect our bodies directly. And then there is the other one that there are other factors that can come into. Some of the health behaviors that you can really take into is in the house. When you talk about exercise, it's not just like to stretch or just walking. At least it should be for 30 minutes. And also, at least you should produce some sweat. That is what we define as exercise. Also, we should be in a position to maintain a normal body weight. As I had said earlier, all of us are unique in different ways. So we need to maintain a normal body weight that, according to your weight and height, that really supports your optimal well-being. Either is quitting alcohol or even quitting smoking, or never been involved in that, because these two also have a very negative impact in our bodies. And at the end of the day, you may even suffer more compared to even other diseases that you may be prone to. to get. And also another thing is minding your thoughts and your company. When you're stressed out, when there is a lot that is going on, you and I are bound to make very wrong food choices, as we had seen earlier. So if you just think of positive thoughts, being grateful. I know sometimes it's not easy, but when every day you have a reason to just live and to just live life, to just choose life, and your thoughts are in line with everything that is positive. You may be, for example, tempted to go and take a burger, but instead just choose to take some fruits instead. And even your company, who are you staying with? Are they people who are helping you to grow, or are they people who always make you feel bad? Then the other habit that you should all really embrace, is having daily also affects our mental. Example, for me, slept well, I am easily irritable, and at times I'll just have to take, even if it's a nap of 1 hour, and I'll be okay. So also sleep is very important for our overall well-being. So you can just try and embrace this, and it's really going to help us along the way. Next slide, perhaps. So after talking about all that, perhaps had done an intro. So let's just see what are some of the easy steps that you can really put into our lives to lead a healthier lifestyle. And I purposely choose the word healthier because I know some of us are at a point where we know what we should be doing. Probably we are trying, but we haven't even reached there. So a healthier lifestyle is just improving on what we've been doing. We all appreciate ourselves for the fact that we have been doing. I know we've been hydrating and everything. So what more can we do to help us? The first one is get active for at least 30 minutes a day. Or if you can do more than that, that's okay. And also, even as you get active, maybe it could be walking, it could be cycling, it could be joining a gym, the Zumba. Just make sure you are active, but also if you have an underlying health condition such as diabetes or a heart disease, I would really encourage you before you engage into any physical activity to really talk to your doctor and your nutritionist so that you get a regime that is best for you. Another healthier lifestyle that you can use is really choosing water as a drink at all times in combination to other drinks. Like do not let coffee or tea or even your fruit juice substitute for water. Our body needs water to carry out a lot of activities in our bodies. Also, let's choose to eat more fruits and vegetables, and you can do this by sometimes just even taking the fruit juice or even taking the fruit as a whole, or even at times, some of us, for example, we peel apples. You can even try to take them as whole. But also, when it comes to eating fruits and vegetables, fruits are also very rich in natural sugars, and for people who are diabetic, this can be problematic. So even as we talk about eating more fruits, you should also check out with your doctor or a nutritionist to make sure that we don't really mess up with your blood sugar levels. Another option, I know most of us love snacking. Every time we are traveling, we'll either get into the supermarket and get maybe a bag of chips, of crisps, and maybe some other snack, Afia, the Coca, or just all those drinks. I know you know what I'm talking about. So we can just choose to eat healthier and nutrient-dense foods and snacks as an option to the snacks and foods that are not really helpful to us. For example, myself, when I'm traveling, maybe not every time, but most of the times, I try to just peel off carrots and even pack them and eat them on the way. Then another thing, let's turn off electronic gadgets, especially when you're eating. I think Paps has said, if you're watching, you find yourself, you've just eaten and you're like, okay, when did I finish this plate? And then you go for another one. And instead, just go get some more fresh air. It will do us better. Also make eating time a joyful time. There is a clip that I saw. Every time you're going for dinner as a family or even with friends, just put your phones aside and get to talk instead of just being on the phone. Also get enough sleep, as we have talked earlier, and eat with friends, especially if you're going through some tough times. 1 or 2 times, or even most of the times, just have time and eat with friends. And even this also works for the elderly people. With friends, they are able to even eat better. And yeah, next slide, perhaps. And from what we have been doing in our Get Bold Back, this is just an extra of this presentation. Perhaps had told me that most of us are we either want to lose or gain weight, and so I decided to put this slide here. Before we make this decision, there's some things that you should really put in place. And this starts with knowing your BMI. That is, your BMI is your body mass index, and we calculate this by knowing your weight and your height. So we can start by let's get to know our weight. Let's get to know our height. With this calculation, we can know where we are ranging in. Then there is a measurement we call waist to hip ratio. It also helps us to understand how healthy we are. Then you have to start this journey of either gaining or losing weight with a lot of patience, self-compassion, discipline, and also have supportive environment. I'm going to start by losing weight. All this needs, the two sides needs all of us to be physically active. And then you have to reduce the intake of refined carbohydrates, what you call white foods. Let me use that term. Also, the sugar that we take, then the bad fats. The bad fats are those that really increase our cholesterol levels, and most of the times they're saturated fats and they're solids in room temperatures. Then get rid of all junk food, or even reduce the intake, and then the carbonated drinks. Instead, you have to take more of whole grains, foods rich in fiber, good fats. Then have to reduce your protein intake. Hydration is key. Sleep, and then avoid stressful situations that can make you to really over person who when eat a lot of foods. Then if you're going to gain weight also, I have tried this for me because I'm quite a small girl and it has worked for me. You have to also be physically active. Then you have to increase the portions of complex carbohydrates. These are the same as whole grains, or complex carbohydrates. They're just the foods, let me say, they're not white, but they are brownish. Let's say like the brown rice, there is the wimbi, like whatever has not really undergone a lot of processing. Then also include good fats in your diet. Also, you have to increase your amount of proteins, because once you start really just working out, you'll really be hungry. That is one thing that I can attest to you. Also, hydration is important, and also sleep is also important. Next slide, perhaps. And here we are. So our week 2 challenge. I know the first week you've been doing a lot of hydration and movement. Number 1, you're talking about mental health. And there is something I learned from church last Sunday. Fasting from negativity. So that means no complaining, no groaning. You see it is so sunny and you're just about to complain. Just change your thoughts and finish that sentence. It is sunny, but I thank God there are people in the North Pole, they are just freezing from cold. Or there are people who are really waiting for summer to come so that they can experience the sun. And then we're going to call this challenge I Got You. And gut is just our digestive systems. One thing I would want us to be aware of is that our gut, our digestive system, is like the key for well-being. The moment that our gut health is is just not compromised, we are going to really make it, like in terms of nutrition wise and even in terms of in all other diseases, because most diseases start when your digestive system is not really doing well. And so how can you go to your gut? We are going to do something we call fiber wrap, and we're also going to increase our probiotics intake, and I'm going to explain this. From these photos that you can see, what we'll be doing actually is more of fibering up, taking care of our guts, and even increasing our fiber intake. So that means we're going to take more of legumes, that is beans, kamande lovers. I know Kenyans, we love kamandes, all types of beans. And also we are going to increase our intake of fruits and vegetables, both whole, and also we are going to try make smoothies. In our group, I think we'll be trying to just come up with a recipe and share with someone, and then someone else can try your recipe and see how we can just do this together. And also in terms of probiotics, I'm talking about fermented foods. This includes yogurts. It includes fermented, all fermented foods, maziwa mala, we have the mursik. In some countries like China, we have what you call sauerkraut, that is fermented cabbages. They're really good because they help in the growth of good bacteria that are needed in the body. And then we are not just going to eat, we are not just going to enjoy the name I got you. We are going to have a diary. We are going to make a gratitude and I got you diary. We are going to write it down. I know some of us love just putting it down in apps, but I will encourage all of us to really put it down on paper. It is going to be a challenge to all of us. Even me, I am going to be involved. We are not going to leave anyone behind. And I know at the end of the day, we're all going to really got our gut. Yeah. Perhaps you can take me to the next slide. Yeah, I think Paps had introduced me, so I will not dwell so much on this. Just to let you know, I have a team of reputable nutritionists and dietitians that you can work with, and they are ready to help. We can share more in the group chat, and I'll also reach out to Paps. And one thing that I believe in is that living in optimal health is possible. And all this happens one step at a time, but we can't do it on our own. We have to couple all these efforts that you're doing, being in such a group, hydrating, being accountable. We have to couple this with the blessing of the Lord. And I know this one blessing of the Lord, it maketh rich and addeth no sorrow. Meaning no matter how much you do, as long as you have that one blessing of the Lord, that blessing of Jabez, you will never have to struggle in other things. We are going to enjoy good health because it is our portion, because we are the children of God, and God has promised us just blessings in the land of the living. Yeah. Pap can take me to the next slide. Okay. So I will just finish with this quote that the greatest wealth is our health. It is not money. Yeah. I don't know if Paps can hear me.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. The greatest wealth is our health. We may have all the money in the world, but if our health is compromised, it may not even mean much. So even as we save money, even as we go to other things, let's put God first, and let's also check out on our health. And by doing that, we won't just be rich, but we're also going to be wealthy. Yeah. Perhaps is income done? Yeah.
So now we will allow you to probably share some more lessons. I would really love us if when we go back to the group, we can share what we've learned tonight. Just share to encourage the other ladies who are not able to join, and of course to just share so that we can see our learnings. Marie is also in the group, so she'll be following as well. Just feel free to share and what you've learned, what is your take home from this session tonight. Yeah, feel free to post anything that has stood out for you. And so Frida is asking, how much is 8 glasses of water in terms of liters?
Oh,
So Maria, that's for you.
okay. Yeah.
Maria, you're breaking. I don't know what's happening to your network.
Mention a point there. That is like the standard, amount of water that we should take. However, there is a method that sorry.
Marie, we are losing you. I think
Hi,
the network is going on and
Hello.
off. Hi. Hello. Or am I the one who is? Guys, is it my network or Marie's network? Maybe you can help us clarify. I may be the one who is off. Can you hear us? Can you hear both me and Marie? Am I the one fading out or is it Marie?
I think her network is not good, but yours is good.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, now you're
back.
Is it
better?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It's better now.
So I was saying 8 glasses of water, but the intake of water according to your weight. Let me just share how we calculate that as we take more questions.
All right. So the other one is, where does meat fit or not fit? Hey, Carol, mimi nilikuwa karibu kuuliza hapo. So the people who have been promising themselves they will eat meat alone and no carbs. And then Marie has said we eat all the grains, and then Winnie is asking who loves Kamande Jaman. Well, Kamande is premium banner. Right now, Kamande is a premium product. It's not affordable. Kamande is a whole 250 banner per kg. Yeah, that's a premium food. Honestly, I love Kamande. I prefer Kamande over Njahe. Yeah, so maybe you can advise us on whether meat is meat fit in this scope of things. On the juices, Carol is saying she's interested in recipes. So we'll probably, the ones who have recipes or you have links of recipes you've used and they've worked, maybe you can just go and share on the group. You can just point us to something. I've also done quite a number of smoothies in the past. We'll just be sharing. And then of course, maybe Catherine, I'm sure Catherine has probably plugged to smoothies. I know she's in wellness. So Catherine, feel free to also fill us in. And then anyone else, probably you've done something it worked for you. Maybe even if it's your own recipe, please feel free to share. And then please add me to the group. Oh, Monica, you're not in the group. Please chat me on this number so that I can add you. 0720-433-833. 0720-433-833. So if you chat me on that number, I will find you and then I will add you. Now. Where was I? I've scrolled up. I'm trying to come back. Okay. Carol Nyambura, wonderful tips and insights and health being much appreciations. And then ones need to know, is a 3-day dry fast every month for purpose of prayer dangerous? Also, is age a factor? Marie, I hope you can hear us.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, so I think you can just answer them at a go so that we can make the most out of our time. So you will answer on the 3-day dry fast. Someone who loves doing that every month for purpose of prayer. And does age also affect how long you can fast or probably how to go about it? And then let me see whether there's anything else. Caroline is the greatest health is wealth. That has really captured me. Thanks, Maria. Please share on the group as well, so you can just encourage the others. You remember, want to still keep the community vibrant. I would love to do smoothies. Winnie, who loves Kamande Jamani, So Catherine Chacha will share smoothie recipes and then we will get them on the group. So we are glad we are there. And then recipes for people with H. pylori issues will also help. So you can also advise on that. And so is there a menu, a week menu you'll be sharing? Rehab is asking. Yeah. Did I say Kamade is the new Beyonce of the cereals? A good one. All right, Anne-Marie, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I know Commander right now is quite expensive. Yes, the last time I checked, God is faithful. That is what I will say. So let me start with the dry fast every month. One thing I believe is it's not bad to fast. As long as you are healthy, that means you don't have any other underlying conditions. And also one thing I believe, as long as you're going to the mountain to seek the Lord, actually you get out of there rejuvenated than you've been before. Yeah, so as long as God is there, I know everything is going to work out. And does age is also if age a factor, or when it comes to fasting, I think the most important part is the health condition that probably could be having, because if you're diabetic, then that means there's some, you may not go for really a long time without actually doing dry fast. Probably you'll need something to just hydrate you and even keep the sugar levels at par. So I hope that is answered. Then there was someone who had asked about meat. So yeah, meat, we encourage consumption of white meat and a reduction of the red meat. Red meat falls in the two dates that I talked about, are the Western diets, yeah. But also you can reduce just the intake. I know people from Kajiado, like me, we really love nyama choma and meat. It's just like calls you. But actually, if you're just able to reduce the intake and increase more of the let me say, plant-based proteins instead of the red meat, that will be good, and just reduce the intake. And also if it has a lot of fats and you're trying to lose weight, you can also remove the fats. And even this goes even for white meat like chicken or from any poultry. You have to remove the skin because it's really full of fats, and even for diabetic people, it's going to reduce the amount of fat that you're going to use. Then the other question was on the menu for the week. So because we're trying to just improve on our gut health, we're just going to, I'm not really per se like sharing a menu on every meal, but you're just going to do as a group to see if we can get the juices, maybe the green salads, the yogurts recipes, how we can really even spice up our yogurts. So that is basically what you're going to do. It's more of increasing our fiber intake, but also in a way it is detoxing, because detoxing is actually the first step that we should all get into, whether you're trying to lose weight or even trying to gain weight. Then someone had mentioned Busa is also a fermented product. I will put my reservations on that, but as I think it's quite intoxicating, so I wouldn't really encourage that, because now we'll start talking of even Muratina and everything. I think that is let me not really talk much about that, but I wouldn't really encourage a product that is really, let me say, has quite an alcoholic content. It's going to mess up with your metabolism and with your body. Yeah, but you can also engage more on that later in the group. Is there anything that I've left out? Oh, recipes for people with H. pylori. So H. pylori is more of like let me just use the simple word ulcers, stomach ulcers, I encourage people with ulcers to first test what food is not working for you, because maybe I may be taking beans and I'm not affected, but you're taking beans and you're affected. So it all depends with the foods that really spike up the ulcers. You should really try and avoid them. In addition to medication, I know there is a kit that once you take it, like kind of clears off your diet, depended on an individual. Some foods that are good for pups may not good for me, and vice versa. So probably Sadia, you can inbox me and I can get to know how you really are working on this. Then what about kombucha? I'm not sure what kombucha is. You can try explain to me. Yeah, maybe Joyce, you can expound on that, and then maybe I'll be able to respond. So perhaps I think I'm done with the concerns.
All right. What about, okay, Sawa. Thank you, and Marie, that was amazing, very insightful, and we are definitely looking forward to just living this out. Normally, how we end our webinars, we normally worship and pray, because we still want to point even this journey to God. You know, those days we'll be having cravings for the things that we know are not giving us life, places where we already feel we are struggling with addiction. Some of us, it's sweet sugar, sweet tooth. We just want to commit ourselves to God so we can tell God, we are inviting you in this journey. And I just love the way John chapter 15 says, without him, we can do nothing. You know, but also to remember, he's also the one who prolongs our life. It's not even all these things that we will do. So let's just take time to worship. There's a song that we played when we were starting. So that is the same song I want to play as we are ending this webinar. Just allow yourself to even chill right now. And then you just ask God, like, will you just come and even reveal to me why I'm struggling, where I'm struggling? And also for us to just remember, even when we think about this wellness journey, even weight loss journey, we just praying that God will also be keeping us in this balanced place where it's not an obsession and it's not something that is becoming an idol in our lives. And I really love this song that is all like, Lord, I will bow to you, no other God but you, so that we are also not bowing to any idols, including even our desire for achievement or anything. We just want to put our hope and confidence in God, even as we start this journey of proper eating this week. Just remind ourselves it is also in Him we live, in Him we move, in Him we have our being. So just take time to listen to the words of this song and just allow yourself to zone in and just allow God to just give even that courage to know that all these things are possible. And then we will pray at the end and just commit ourselves to God and just tell God, we need your help. We invite you. We depend on you. We rely on you, even to provide for us. Because healthy eating, Marie has said, it's also expensive. It's probably more expensive than just eating that bun that is 10 bob, and you know, probably that those juices are also cheaper than smoothies. We just want to trust God that He is also going to back us up in our health,